Good evening, everyone. My name is Carla Malazowski, and I'm an instructional specialist in the Division of Consortia Choice and Application Program Services. And I'd like to welcome you here this evening to learn more about middle school options for your child. So before we really get started, and we have a lot of things to cover this evening, I'd like to know who joined us this evening. Raise your hand if you're a younger sibling of one of our potential middle school candidates. Do we have any younger siblings here with us today? I think I see a few, but they're being shy. What about older siblings that are here to help advise the younger siblings on where it is they're gonna go to middle school? I see we have a few of those, and we have, thank you very much to all of the parents and guardians that have come out tonight with your families and with your fifth graders to learn more about your options with respect to middle school in Montgomery County. I'd like to thank a number of people for joining us this evening. I'd like to thank the ITV team for streaming this and making this available live to families across the county. I'd like to thank the principals of both of the middle schools that we're discussing today, Mr. Wynn and Mr. Brown, for joining us this evening, together with Erica May, the program coordinator for one of the programs. Our other program coordinator is on one of the very exciting field trips with his students that you're going to learn more about this evening. We also have Ms. Dean here from Accelerated and Enriched Instruction and members of my team in the DC CAPS office. So I'd like to thank everyone for being here tonight to support this event and to help answer your questions this evening. So today we're going to talk about middle school and really focus on acceleration and enrichment opportunities in middle school and let you know that these opportunities are available in multiple places. So where is acceleration and enrichment available in middle school? Acceleration and enrichment is not a place. It is a way of teaching, a way of learning, a way of engaging and participating. And we have acceleration and enrichment available at each of our middle schools across the whole county. We have acceleration and enrichment available at the MSMC, the Middle School Magnet Consortium schools. And we have the Selective magnets. Specifically today, we're going to be discussing the magnets at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Roberto Clemente middle schools. And we see that technology is not always our best friend, but here we go. So what about your local middle school? I'm here to tell you that your local middle school has tremendous offerings. All of the middle schools in the county take great pride in offering a wide range of electives so that students can have opportunities to learn and engage in different areas. Also, all of our middle schools offer high school credits in a number of areas, specifically world language and math, and some middle schools have electives that also count for high school credits. We have accelerated and enriched courses in mathematics, and we have this new course, which is now going to be in its second and third year, Historical Inquiries into Global Humanities, that is offered at local middle schools. And how are students considered for these courses? Students are considered for these courses through a variety of ways. One way is a central review process that is beginning now and will conclude probably around January, February. And the other is some of the courses that are available, specifically foreign language and some other courses. You work with your elementary school fifth grade team to see what the best fit is for your child, and recommendations are made that way. Okay, so we also have the Middle School Magnet Consortium, and we had a meeting specifically about the Middle School Magnet Consortium. The video of that meeting, similar to the video that's being taken tonight so that everyone can review later or share it with someone at home who was not able to attend, that video session was recorded, and you can learn more about the different offerings at the various middle schools in the MSMC. There are 3 middle schools in the MSMC. We have Argyle, which focuses on digital design and development, Loiterman, which is a magnet for creative and performing arts, and Parkland, a magnet for aerospace. Entry into these programs is a lottery process. Families that reside within a certain area, the MSMC schools are their local middle schools. Those families that reside in those areas have received special letters indicating that these are your middle schools. But anyone in any part of Montgomery County with currently a 5th grade student can apply to be considered through the lottery process for a seat at one of these schools. Again, the presentation is online, and we have some open houses that I think are referenced a little bit later in the PowerPoint. And what do these middle school programs have in common? They have what's called a whole school magnet. And that means that all of the students attending the school participate in the magnet theme for that particular school. They also have accelerated and enriched classes, specifically in mathematics and world language, as well as high school credit electives that connect with their magnet themes. Okay. And now we have our selective magnet programs. We have Humanities and Communications. We have an up-county location and a down-county location. They're sister programs. Today our focus is going to be talking about the program at Dr. Martin Luther King, but we do have a program at Eastern that serves the southern part of the county, which is our humanities for the southern part of the county. And for math, science, computer science, we have Roberto Clemente, which is our focus today, serving the northern part of the county, and Tacoma Park, serving the southern part of the county. The way you know which one you're eligible for, it's linked to your address. So you are eligible to be considered for the one that connects with where you live. You don't decide which one you would like to apply to. Which leads us to the point that many years ago, these were programs for which families applied. There is no longer an application required for these programs, and we're going to talk to you today about the process for consideration so that your child has an opportunity to be considered for these programs. But there is no longer an application for students that are currently enrolled and attending Montgomery County Public Schools. So what is offered at these programs, we have acceleration and enrichment through high school credit and 3 magnet-themed courses that are linked to the theme of the magnet. And we are very fortunate, as I said today, to have representation from the schools to tell you about the courses that they specifically offer in their subject areas. And students will be selected by a selections committee to be invited into one of these programs. Part of the process is an above grade level assessment, which will be administered at your local elementary school in November. Later this week, you'll be receiving a letter which gives you the date of that assessment. Some schools, for whatever reason, may need to change their date, or if you have any concerns about the date, please talk to your local school, as they are the ones that are selecting the date for the test at your local school. Ooh. There's some things that are just common to middle schools in the county, and you have an opportunity to experience this at all of our middle schools, but middle schools in the county have either 7th or 8th period school days. They offer high school credit courses in a variety of areas, and student classes are composed of core courses together with electives. And in middle school, this is exciting for some of us, is physical education is a daily or at least a regular component of the scheduling day. The schools that have 8 period days do it a little bit differently, but the children have physical education every other day in those schools as well. Okay, so for whom are the middle school programs designed? Take a minute to think about yourself and think about your student as a learner. These programs are created for students that may not have peers in their local school. And remember that when you transition to middle school, your peer group expands exponentially. It's not the same children that have been at the elementary school, but you're talking about a number of elementary schools coming together to form a larger group. So these committees that are doing selections, they take a look at the entire peer group that is coming into a middle school. So we're thinking about students that may not have peer groups, students that engage in out-of-the-box thinking, that really like to solve problems, create their own problems to solve, and engage in learning through teams and projects. Okay. So, Roberto Clemente and Dr. Martin Luther King are the programs that we're focusing on today. Both programs are located in Germantown, and as I said, these programs do serve the northern part of the county. Each program has 50 seats for out-of-area students, and each program has their specific magnet offering. The admissions process is a process with criteria, including the assessment, and students are scheduled for the 3 magnet classes together with other children in the magnet program, and then the other 4 classes, they're part of the school community and they're scheduled for those classes with the other students that attend the school. So we're gonna transition and learn a little bit more about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Humanities Magnet program there. Miss Erica May, our magnet coordinator, is here to talk to you about the offerings at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, we can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Yes. So we are so excited to be here this evening to talk to you about our programs. I will be talking about, my name is Miss May, Erica May. I am the magnet coordinator at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School. I want to take the time to recognize our principal, Mr. Christopher Wynn, right here. Yay! Okay, so today this evening, we're going to talk about our focus on humanities. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School offers a 7-period instructional day. The students in the magnet program, they receive enriched, accelerated instruction across 3 disciplines. Those disciplines are English, World Studies, and Media. So our teachers in the magnet program work together. So our English teachers, our world studies teachers, and our media teachers collaborate with one another to create a program that is to create a program and emphasize the interdisciplinary themes of our Humanities and Communication program. Okay, so what makes our program unique? Our students read texts that are 2 to 4 years above their peers. They focus on creating documentary films and expository essay writings. They learn film composition and writing skills, interview skills, research skills, and thesis development. These students also participate in a national and international scholastic competitions such as National History Day and the C-SPAN Student CAM competition. So next, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Jeffrey Brown from Roberto Clemente. He will be talking about the program Mathematics, Science, Computer Science Magnet program. He is here today, which you all are very lucky to have him. Unfortunately, Mr. Steve Orders is on a field trip, as you've heard. So you get Mr. Jeffrey Brown to talk about Clemente. Thank you. Oh. Oh no, technology. You want to just click on it? No, thank you. Oh, okay.
Good evening. Much better. Miss May got you ready for that. Excellent. My name is Jeff Brown. I'm the principal of Roberto Clemente Middle School. Thank you for joining me here tonight. As has been mentioned a couple times, our magnet coordinator is off on a field trip, a field experience with the children. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a second. So some things that I really enjoy about Roberto Clemente Middle School is that we are a very large school. We are a very diverse school. We have a middle years program which is open and offered to every student, every child, every classroom, every teacher. And my counterparts over at King also have the exact same program. If you've heard of International Baccalaureate at the high school level, the MYP Middle Years program is the middle school version of the same program. So at Clemente, we offer a math, computer science, science program. And what that means for a middle school student is that they would have the opportunity to specialize in those 3 areas of study. I'll talk more about each in just a moment. And then that would leave, for a middle school schedule, that would leave an opportunity to pick one elective. And that elective at Clemente could be a host of world languages, which is something that we make a priority, but also there are other things like music, art, rock band, theater, etc. In thinking more about our program, math, science, and computer science solve problems. Sometimes those problems are numbers. Sometimes those problems are things that we have not realized yet are problems. Sometimes they are very complex issues, but everything I'm going to talk about is about solving problems. For the math experience, your children would begin at what we refer to as IM, the Investigations into Mathematics course in the grade 6 level, which is really a combination of 2 curriculums, a grade 7 curriculum and a touch of algebra. In 7th grade, they would move into magnet algebra. And then by 8th grade at least, they would enroll in magnet geometry. Thinking about science, here we go. So the science curriculum extends the MCPS curriculum. And it emphasizes the interlocking nature of all of these 3 areas that I just talked about. So one thing that we do really well at Clemente is our 3 teachers in the program of study collaborate to design projects, work, and field experiences that address all 3 subjects at the same time. So for example, one project that we do every year is our children are faced with researching a country not in our hemisphere that has great dietary needs. And they propose a diet that's local to the area. They examine the nutrition of that diet. They examine technologies that could be used with the resources that they have there to enhance the diet of people, and then they present to parents. So that is one little example of several different things that we do to highlight how all 3 of these disciplines work together all the time. However, looking more closely in what our science program, there we go. Nope, too far, sorry. Right there, yes. So matter and energy, in grade 6, matter and energy, a little bit into the environment and waves. And then in 7th grade, it's more of a biology focus and a little bit into Earth's history and evolution. And then by grade 8, forces, motion, interactions, Earth and the solar system, and our universe. In computer science, we often get asked, does my child need any programming knowledge before entering into this middle school program? And the answer is no, they do not. There we go. And actually, we prefer it if they don't. Oftentimes, children have taught themselves using the internet or copying code and using it, and it's actually better to start from a foundational belief. I was just talking to my one of my computer science teachers before I came over here today, and he said, no, we don't teach programming languages, we teach concepts. So the concepts, if you're familiar with programming, concepts are transcend all languages. So if you start with a 6th grade understanding of how to solve problems on a computer, the different types of statements that you can make, like an if statement, an else statement, a switch, etc., then you can build those structures to solve the problem. In 7th grade, we get into robotics and app development for mobile devices. Then in 8th grade, we jump hardcore into Python, all the way from a very low level up to and including object-oriented programming. And then we even get into some SQL before the kids leave. And actually, I'm going to go back if I can. This is not cooperating easily with me. There we go. See that telescope right there? That wasn't just a nice to have picture that supported us. That is actually where my magnet coordinator and about 75 children are right now in Green Bank, the Green Bank Observatory in West Virginia. This is one of the field experiences that we offer. We are always looking for field experiences to enhance what's happening in our classrooms. So some of the places that we go are the Amazon Fulfillment Center in grade 6, some gaming and local software development companies in the Rockville area. In grade 7, the Green Bank Telescope, a hydroponic farm, National History Museum, and in grade 8, the Cryptological Museum, and an amazing trip to Boston to culminate their experience. My advice to you as parents here seeking information is to continue to ask good questions. With answers and with information, you can make an informed decision for your child. If you have any questions, I'll be around for a little bit. Thank you very much for having us here.
So as we click, oh, very nice, thank you. I want to give one more round of applause for our administrators that came out tonight to share about their programs with all of you. When we adjourn, they'll all be here to answer any questions that you may have. We're going to do a little bit more with me, and then we're going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to ask some questions. But hopefully I'll answer all of your questions before you can ask them. Okay, so areas of access. How are we accessing these programs? We are beginning now with the process called universal screening. As I said, at some point this week, definitely by next Monday, you will receive a letter saying whether or not your child is being recommended for testing for the opportunity to be considered for one of these magnet programs, and also whether or not, the test not only yields good information for the magnet programs, it is one data point that can be used to consider your child for the opportunity to participate in it's not the only data point, it is a data point to participate in advanced coursework at your local elementary school. So more information about the COGAT assessment being offered at your local middle school is coming to you via letter this week. What can parents expect of the magnet process? So there's no longer an application requirement. All students are being considered, beginning with this letter that you'll be receiving at home. If you have any questions about the letter, please do not hesitate to ask. If you are the parent of a homeschooled or private school student and you are interested in applying to any of the programs that we have described, you are 100% eligible. Please make sure you see me so that you can access the application. Private and homeschool students must apply because they're not with us for us to know that they're interested in testing. It's not so much as an application as it is expressing an interest in being considered. Okay, and as I've been saying, testing will occur at your local elementary school for everyone. Private and homeschool students will test at their local elementary school. Okay, frequently asked questions. So at the beginning of the year, we start with a central screening, looking at students, looking at areas of strength for our students, and you receive these letters that you'll be receiving in the mail no later than next Monday with some early recommendation. Then how are the students selected? In order to be considered for one of the magnet programs, your child must test. The enriched courses at your local middle school are tremendous opportunities, are great offerings. Your child does not need to test to be considered for those courses, but to be considered for the classes here, your child must test. It is a multiple criteria test that is given during the school day, and then a committee meets to review students, and it's not just that is considered. We look at the result of that test, we look at other assessments children have taken, together with report card grades, and a central committee that is name blind, school blind, And Race Blind takes a look at all of our applicants to make recommendations about where students should be going to school. And again, as I said earlier, we do take into account peer group of the students that would be attending the middle school where your child will be attending. So your child can be invited. Oh, and there are 50 seats available for the northern part of the county, which pulls from 9 high school clusters. And the lower end of the county pulls from 16 high school clusters, therefore has 100 seats available. It's twice the number of high schools for the seats, and that is why we have that difference. And your child, oh my gosh. Yes, I had removed it from one of the slides, but it looks like another one. 500. It is not 500, it is 50. I checked, I double checked, I deleted a 0. That 500 really wants to be there. But it is only 50, not 500. I apologize, it's hard to see out of my peripheral vision, but it is 50. Last year I said something else that was incorrect, so always have to have one. And your child can be invited to both programs. We have different selections committees for each. And again, they're name blind, school blind, etc. So your child can be invited to Clemente and to King. Your child can be invited to Clemente and King and be invited to one of the MSMC schools through the lottery. They're completely separate processes, so it's possible to be invited to all. It's also possible not to be invited to any of the programs. And then your child can separately be recommended for enriched courses at your local middle school. Okay, so transportation. Transportation is a biggie, and it's a big question. Roberto Clemente, Dr. Martin Luther King, Eastern, and Tacoma Park do provide transportation. The transportation is provided from local stops. So, from not local stops. They are provided from central stops, which is different from local stops. That means that if you're going to your local middle school, your bus stop might be 2 or 3 blocks away from your home. With central stops, it could be 2 or 3 miles away from your home in order to catch the bus to go to one of these programs, okay? And parents are responsible for ensuring that their child gets to and is picked up from these local stops. The bus, the bus ride does vary. The bus does make multiple stops and multiple pickups. The closer you live to the school, the shorter your bus ride is going to be. So keeping that in mind. A lot of parents also ask about the bus routes. You can look at the current bus routes for this school year on the school's web pages. Transportation is amazing. They do a tremendous job. And every year, ever so slightly, they adjust the bus routes because as they have people living in different areas, they want to make sure that buses are as convenient as possible for families. So you can look at this year's bus routes just to give you an idea of how long the bus ride is going to be, but recognizing that next year's bus routes will indeed be, even if just slightly, they'll be different. So what is the timeline? Right now we're in October, and you will be receiving we have our parent meetings, you'll be receiving the letter in the mail with the results of your central screening. In November, your child will test at school. When I say your child will test at school, that is where the test is. If it is the day of testing and your child is sick, please do not send them to school to take the tests when they are sick. Schools will be administering makeup tests when they are needed. So please, please, please do not send a sick child to school to test. We will work with you, but please be respectful of the schools and make sure that your child is there on the day of testing if at all possible. So your child will test in November. In December, we have selections committees that meet, and in late January, early February, it's the last week of January, first week of February, you'll receive the results. The results come in one letter. Okay, so you're not going to receive a letter from one school and be wondering about the other school. You're going to receive one letter and know what all of your options are. If and when you're invited to a program, each of the programs has an open house once the invitation letters goes out for invited families. So you have general questions now, but as you get to that point, if you have specific questions, you will have an opportunity to have your specific questions addressed. Okay. As a parent, what do I do now? So be on the lookout for your local letter, work with your local middle school. These processes start earlier. Your local middle school is going to be reaching out to you. Typically, local middle schools host information nights for parents, and before it's time for you to make a decision if your child is invited to one of these programs, you will have the opportunity to learn about your local middle school. So I would encourage you to take that opportunity. We have the MSMC open houses. We have 2 left, one at Argyle later this week and one at Loiterman next week. If you're interested in the MSMC lottery schools, the MSMC lottery is open on the Montgomery County Public Schools webpage. If you go to the search bar and you type MSMC for Middle School Magnet Consortia, you will have the choice form to participate in that lottery. Please note that in order for that link to open, your child must be logged in to his or her Google account. So a lot of us discuss this with our children, and then they go to bed and we're like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna do this. And you do need your child to be with you in order to be able to log into their Google account to access the link. The link will only work with the child's Google credentials. And then we have these programs. Tonight we're here at Gaithersburg High School, who has been an amazing host to us. And we will be having the same meeting with a focus on the programs at Eastern and Tacoma Park at Kennedy High School coming up later this month. So I want to thank you again for joining us this evening. I want to make you aware of all of the contact information. Here you have the names of the coordinators, as well as AEI, which is a huge part of this process. If you have questions about the admissions process, I'm Carla Malazowski, your admissions instructional specialist who works with an amazing team at DC CAPS to support you and your students. We want to thank you for coming out tonight. The presentation has been videotaped. If your loved one was not able to come, please feel free to pull it up online. If there are parts that you wish to review again, pull it up online. If you're going to take a picture of anything, this is what you want to take a picture of. And again, I want to thank ITV for joining us and making this presentation available to families at home. I want to thank the DC CAPS team for helping to organize this event tonight, AEI, and the school administrators for joining us this evening. Thank you so much. And to Gaithersburg High School for welcoming us into their space to meet this evening. Have a wonderful evening, and thank you again.